Hello and welcome. Fantastic to have you here. We have got a great session on today. Before I start with this fantastic session that you're going to get so much out of, I just want to remind you that if you've got any platforms that you're struggling with, if you have got an issue, a concern, a worry, any inquiries, questions, whatever, contact us here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We'll throw a little video just like this one to you and hopefully help you get to some solutions. All right, so the session for today, let's get it started. It's all about the 6 ways that you can get your team working better together. Okay, so sometimes you'll be in a situation where you have inherited a ruptured team, a broken team. Maybe they're not collaborating very well. Maybe they're not talking to each other very well. Maybe there's some confrontation. Maybe there's people that dislike each other. All those sorts of things, which makes it really, really difficult to lead that sort of team. So this is all about 6 ways to get your team working together and get them collaborating more. So let's start. All right, the first one, number 1. Make sure that you make sharing experiences and knowledge and skills a priority. So it's really, really important that the teams get together and share those experiences. So you're going to have team meetings and you're going to have one-on-ones with your team members. In that time, you are going to find out people's strengths, people's weaknesses, people's areas of expertise, their different knowledge bases, all those sorts of things. And it'll be fantastic in the team setting that you can start getting them to share their experiences. And you can do that simply by going in one of your team meetings, hey Dave, I know when we got together with our one-on-one last week, you were telling me how you're really great online with websites and things like that. I'd love for you to share with the team, the last project you've been working on or something, and maybe give Dave a heads up that you'd like him to contribute to that. So you're going to encourage that. You're going to make sure that that's a priority. Really, really important to start getting them to share what each other's strengths and weaknesses are so they can start leveraging off them. Really important. So that's number 1. Number 2, create a really safe place. And what I mean safe, yes, it's important to have PPE and all the safety stuff, but I'm thinking psychologically safe. So you want to create a space where it's okay for the team members to share mistakes, problems, thoughts, insights, opinions, without having any consequence to it. So if somebody makes a mistake, it's okay for them to come up and say, hey, I think I ballsed up. I did A, B, C, and this was the result. I meant to do that. How do I get back and do that? Okay, well, that's a great insight. Let's get together and problem solve it as a team. Okay, so Dave's just mentioned this has happened. What we want to do is get to that result. So how can we turn it around? So you're going to celebrate those sorts of things, difference of opinion, different thoughts, different insights, mistakes that people make. Sometimes that's really hard to do because if your work culture is somebody makes a mistake, say you hit them over the head with a hammer, it's going to be really hard for you to turn that thinking around. But it's important to make a psychological safe place in your team that people can share that sort of stuff without feeling like they're going to be, absolutely ostracized or isolated or in trouble or whatever else. They need to make sure there's no fear of retribution with that. If it is a pattern of the same mistake being made, of course we have to action that. But if it's a once off and it's something that we can learn from, let's embrace it. Let's congratulate the person for bringing it forward and letting us all learn from it. Okay, so that's what I mean by create a psychological safe place to work. All right, so number 3. This is all about exempling inclusivity. So what I mean by this is you are the leader, so you're going to set the example, right? So you need to set the example that everybody is contributing to the team. Everybody has different values to add to the team and contribute to the team. Everybody has strengths that we can leverage off each other and make the team members feel valued for those. you're going to model this. You're going to be the example. So if you're congratulating people and showing people how they're contributing and value adding in what space, and Mary might be different to Sally, which is different to Dave, but they're all contributing in their own way. If you embrace that and make sure you recognize that, then they're going to start recognizing it in each other. So making sure that you example inclusivity and don't leave anybody out, making sure you treat people fairly, make sure there's no sort of, star pupils that get all the breaks or get all the, great jobs and everyone else gets all the crap ones. Share that stuff around. Make sure that you example that. Really, really important. Okay, number 4, develop structured workflows. So it's really, really important that people have clearly defined roles. They know exactly what their role is. They know how they can participate and contribute to the team, and they know where it's going. You're going to have really clearly defined roles. You're going to have deadlines to certain tasks or projects so people know exactly what they need to get done. And you're going to have repeatable steps. And what I mean by repeatable steps is that you might have certain ways to do things, whether it's to be turning on a machine or turning off a machine or handover or a procedure that you do. And it's going to be best practice. This has been trialed over a number of years, and this is the best way to do it. So this is all going to be repeatable steps that people can follow to be able to get from A to B. If you haven't got that yet, then work on it. Work on how can we get that. So what you want is clearly defined roles, repeatable steps or, best practice procedures on doing things and deadlines to get them done. Everybody then has a really clear indication of where they're going, what they're doing, how they're going to do it, and when they've got to do it by. Really, really important if you want your teams to work really well together. Okay, number 5. I'm going to say something to you and you're probably going to go, oh God. So what I'm going to say is utilize team building activities. Okay. And I know it sounds bizarre and I know it sounds a bit wishy-washy or tree huggy, but it's really, really important that the team start working together, sometimes outside of work. So if you have the opportunity, it might only be once or twice a year, whatever it is, try and think of a team building activity that you can do that will get them bonding together and working together. There was one team that had a really great idea. So what they did, they got their teams together and they got them to work on putting a bike together. So they got these kids' bikes turned up in boxes and they had to put them together like an IKEA bike, right? Now, there wasn't any time boundness, but they got a load of stickers and streamers and all that sort of stuff. And they said, when you've got your bike together, we want you to make it the most amazing looking bike with all this stuff. So they could be creative. But what the teams didn't realise is when they'd finished and they had all these beautiful bikes in a row, the organisers had got a kids' charity to come down and bring the kids, and they were able to hand over the bikes to these disadvantaged kids. And you can imagine the emotional response. The kids' faces were absolutely, delighted to see these brand new bikes that they got. And these are kids that, don't see many happy days. So this was a fantastic day for them, and you can imagine how touched the team were that they were able to contribute to that. So that was a brilliant team building activity that they actually got to share a really nice, fantastic moment together. So things like that, just think about what you can do to create those team building activities and get that bond happening. Okay, number 6, final one. Create space that the whole team can get together. So if you are in closed offices, is there an open space where you can have more of an open office where people can collaborate more? There's been studies been done, there's been lots of surveys about how great an open office is and how crap an open office is. But let me tell you, there is a growth of 51% of people in an open office of how they collaborate together and work together versus closed offices. If you have team members that are sort of on the floor of a factory or whatever, a little bit harder, but as much as you can, create spaces where they can come together. Lunchrooms, meetings, team building sessions, all those sorts of stuff. Really, really important that they get to collaborate and speak to each other. If you have a remote team, sometimes this can be tough, but it's about setting rules and regulations about if you're going to phone somebody remotely because they're in a different state, use Skype video. Get some more face-to-face stuff happening as much as you can. Use the online platforms that are generally free. You've got Google Hangouts, you've got Blue Jeans, you've got all of these different sort of platforms that you can use, and most of them are absolutely free. You can create I don't know if you can have Facebook in your company, but you can create Facebook groups where it's just you lot or whatever it may be. Something where they can go and be together and talk informally and, just gain relationships with each other. So I hope that helped. Let's go through them again. Number 1, make sharing any knowledge and skills and expertise a priority. Really, really good one, that one. Number 2, create a safe place. And when I say safe, I mean psychologically safe. Of course, we all want a safe place to work, but this is psychologically safe. So it's okay for people to make mistakes or have difference of opinion or all those sorts of things. Number 3, make sure that you're setting the example and being inclusive of your team. So you're celebrating all their strengths. You're celebrating everything that they contribute to the team. Number 4, develop those structured workflows. Okay, so they're gonna have a really defined role. They're gonna have deadlines, and they're gonna have repeatable steps or best practice ways of doing things, procedures in place. Number 5, use team building activities as much as you can to really create that bond and get them some collaborating together really, really well. And number 6, create a space in the workplace where they can get together, whether that's a shared lunchroom or a shared office space or something. If you've got remote teams, use different platforms where you can get face-to-face interaction. So I hope that helped. It's certainly something that some of them are a little bit harder to get than others, depending on what your situation is. But I'm sure you can take a few of these and incorporate them into your team. Okay, so that's it for us. If you've got any questions, queries, hints, concerns, remember, contact us here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We'll throw a video together just like this one and send it to you, and hopefully we'll get you some solutions. But until then, that's our session for today. We will speak to you next Thursday. Until then, have a fantastic rest of the week and a brilliant weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.